Hi everyone, Big Thinny Cough Tano here, the internet's busiest music nerd, and it's time for a review of this new Lil Baby and Lil Durk project, The Voice of the Heroes. This is a new collaboration between two of the biggest names in modern rap, that is Lil Baby and Lil Durk. Lil Durk is a singer and rapper who came out of Chicago's legendary drill scene in the 2010s, and despite label and legal issues has managed to stay pretty prolific over the past decade. But with the release of his record The Voice in 2020, he seems to have hit a moment of career clarity, like a second wind, if you will. He even landed a hot feature with Drake on that Laugh Now Cry Later track in 2020. Then Lil Baby's an Atlanta native, a quality control artist, and admittedly not someone who I've reviewed well in the past. Between My Turn and his Drip Harder record with Gunna, there have been a couple of not goods. And I guess for good personal reason. I mean, up to this point, I have not been a Lil Baby fan by any stretch of the imagination. Saw him as kind of a Thugger and Future clone. The auto-tune he often mixes with his voice doesn't really go with the warbly timbre. I haven't found a lot of substance to his songs over the years as well. But in the midst of last year, he kind of turned a bit of a new leaf, which I think you could at least partially attribute to the release of his track The Bigger Picture, which was dropped in reaction to the murder of George Floyd and the protests that followed, which may have not been the best produced song in the world, but certainly when it came to lyrics and substance was one of the most profound tracks on this topic at that time. When we look at the greater pantheon of modern rappers, I think most people would have assumed that in that moment we would have had that type of track that would have dominated the scene and dominated the message from Kendrick or Cole or literally 100 other rappers before Lil Baby is even in the discussion. But no, it was Lil Baby. It was Lil Baby who did that. So with both these guys coming together at interesting points in their career, they are now delivering to us 18 tracks where I think, for the most part, lyrically and vocally, they're in top form. Maybe they're feeling revitalized, or in a way they're bringing out the best in each other. Either way, I've never heard either of these guys in a solo capacity sounding this good. As on one track after another, we have inspiring stories of struggle, street life, overcoming adversity, and navigating the treacherous world of the rap game and the legal system. Sometimes these themes come through on incredibly focused and passionate tracks, like the melodic and anthemic Rich Off Pain with Rod Wave. There's also the aspirational Make It Out, as well as which goes over the trauma of bullets flying, poverty, overdue bills, and paranoia. But even when Durk and Baby go general, topically, on some of these tracks, their passion, their energy, as well as vivid descriptions of their life experiences comes through. Which is honestly just refreshing, because with the exception of a few tracks, it seems like these two are just not taking this record very lightly. For every point on this LP where Lil Baby is really rapping his ass off, Lil Durk is singing his ass off, which is kind of what makes them such a dream team on this project, since between the two of them we have some pretty essential bases covered, whether that's on an introspective moment here or a total banger like Lying or 2040. Now, having said this though, I'm not trying to sell this record as like the most groundbreaking or adventurous LP under the sun. Aesthetically, this thing checks a lot of the same boxes that recent releases from Baby and Durk have, many releases in fact from the mainstream mellow trap world. So if that's not your vibe, this may still not really be for you. But for me, The Voice of the Heroes shows two leading artists in their field taking very seriously a strain of hip-hop that in the studio a lot of recording artists, a lot of rappers approach more casually, with maybe more of a quantity over quality mindset, which I can't really get too mad at in the grander scheme of things, since audiences and the music industry at large pretty much reward and encourage that sort of output. Pump out as many tracks as possible, and whatever sticks, sticks. But it really does sound like Baby and Durk are putting a lot of thought into some of the messages they're trying to get across on this record, as well as the song structures here too, because there are numerous hooks that kind of pop. But as impressed as I am with this LP, as much as it exceeded my expectations, it does come with its very glaring flaws. There's a kind of redundant feature from Travis Scott on this record where flow-wise and melodically, he doesn't really bring anything that Durk or Baby didn't already bring to the song early on. Meanwhile, there's a Young Thug feature on here too that's maybe a little too mild, low-key, easily one of the most forgettable appearances of anyone on this record. Then there's the production, which for the most part is super plain just kind of gets the job done, I suppose. For sure, there are some blemishes here and there, like maybe a hi-hat is abnormally high or something, or some keys, some musical addition to a track will be so faint and so quiet in the background it might as well just not be there. But really my biggest issue with the 18 cuts on this project is just how little aesthetic and musical variety there is amongst these beats. Between the keyboard patches and the perks and the 808s and geez, I just feel like I'm stuck in a maze where every turn that I take, every corner is just like sounding or looking the same. Which is weird because I know a host of different producers put this record together. I'm hearing a variety of different producer tags throughout the LP. But honestly, if you stripped them all out and told me that like 2-3 guys produced the whole thing, I'd have to believe you. For a record that's like an hour long, I wish that Durk and Baby just got a little more ambitious with the instrumentals they chose. And even on the rare occasion where they are taking a slight risk, like on That's Facts, for example, the beat is a little too spaced out and awkward. Then there's also the matter of mixing on these tracks, because oddly enough, there are numerous songs here where Durk's voice is just so much bolder and louder than Baby's. This, to a degree, could have to do with presentation, vocal style, timbre, range, as well as auto-tune application. So there are some logical reasons as to why one artist's voice may not pop in the mixes as much as another's, but still there are tracks like Lying, for example, where for whatever reason Lil Baby just doesn't sound like his volume is as high. And to speak to the auto-tune thing for a second, while I do appreciate it's a trademark piece of Lil Baby's sound, I do feel like there are pockets on this record where he's pushing things so hard lyrically that he's almost reaching like a bit of a limit with it, where the autotune is becoming like a detriment to the message he's trying to get across. But still, I find it pretty interesting that someone in this lane, who many people who are old heads with that sort of mindset might see as a mumble rapper, is like really packing some serious content into his stuff. And as much as I can appreciate this record and praise it on the content side, on the writing side, on the performance side, aesthetically and musically, it's just a little too one note to blow me away from end to end. Feeling a decent 2 strong 6 on this one. Transition. Have you given this album a listen? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What would you rate it? You're the best, you're the best. What should I review next? Hit the like if you like, please subscribe and please don't cry. Hit the bell as well. Over here next to my head is another video to check out. Hit that up or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano. Music. Forever.